Hey, it's Pallavi Kashyap. Welcome to the podcast. Hello and welcome, my lovely listeners. Today, I have a new guest who's joining me in my show, Energized Lifestyle Podcast. His name is Daniel Alfon. Daniel is joining me all the way from Israel, thanks to technology and internet. And we are also going to talk about or touch upon a subject which is related to these two. Daniel is a LinkedIn specialist and he's the author of Build a LinkedIn Profile for Business Success. Daniel joined LinkedIn in the year 2004. So we are mentioning this year because we want to say that, he's been in LinkedIn for so many years, and through these years, he has made a lot of mistakes, and he has come back to tell us what exactly works in LinkedIn so that we can avoid all the mistakes and make our journey shorter. Daniel now gets all his clients organically. He says no need to spam people when you're growing your business. And he also mentions that there is no need to keep creating content. The frequency does not matter. He also says you do not have to be someone else because LinkedIn is here to serve you and not the other way around. In his free time, Daniel publishes articles, interviews, and exclusive content about advanced LinkedIn strategies to clients and subscribers on his website, danielalfon.com. So once again, Daniel, welcome to the Energized Lifestyle Podcast. How are you today?
Pallavi, thank you very much. I'm energized by this amazing intro. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope I did well.
More than well.
Okay, Dan. So before we start, I have this question to all my guests. You do so many things. You are an entrepreneur. You have your own business. You have a family life. You are also into your other co-curricular activities and so on. This is like what intrigues me and curious to know if I have to tell you that, okay, choose one, pick one, which is the favorite amongst all of these. So what would that be?
If I only had to pick one, it would be family.
Family, perfect. Yeah.
Not a very original answer, but that's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. So coming to the actual reason why we are doing this podcast is I have had an entrepreneurial journey, and during this journey, I've used several platforms to promote myself, to push my content, to put out my content to my audience, to my listeners in various ways, like podcast is one way. So in that, there is one platform that I did not explore much, and that's LinkedIn. And you are the specialist here today. So I have a lot of questions. But before we start, the first question is the simplest. Like, what is LinkedIn, and how can we use LinkedIn? And I'm sure every listener who is going to listen to this episode, I'm assuming they know. But if we just have to explain what LinkedIn is, how do we start?
Excellent. I think it's important to start with why.
Okay.
LinkedIn is what you'd like to make out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the world's largest business community.
Mm-hmm.
It has close to 900 million users worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Since you hit record, hundreds of people have joined LinkedIn. Pallavi, every second, 3 people sign up.
Wow.
So you need to be serious about it. And every entrepreneur who runs a Google search for their own name would find that in many cases, their LinkedIn profile is in the top of the list. That's sometimes result number one on Google. So you have to be to understand what impression you'd like to convey to your ideal reader, and that's what we could discuss perhaps today.
Mm-hmm. So as an entrepreneur, the various platforms that are used now, Facebook and Instagram, from the set of entrepreneurs that I know, I'm sure there is a set of entrepreneurs who are totally into LinkedIn, but the set of entrepreneurs that I know, including me, we never went to LinkedIn. I don't know what it is, because probably one of the reasons was you always think LinkedIn is for recruiters, or LinkedIn is to look for a job or connect to someone who could be your future employer or something of that sort. So that could be one of the reasons.
I think what you said is very important. And when you're an employee, then LinkedIn does become a marketplace for jobs. But if you're an entrepreneur, then you need to switch your conception of LinkedIn and think about it as an extension of your own website.
Okay.
And once you do this, you ask yourself three very simple questions. Who's your ideal reader on LinkedIn? Most entrepreneurs would say my next client, my prospect, someone I want to start engaging with. The next question would be, what action would, if we could add to this call, your ideal clients? What action would you like them to perform once they visit your own LinkedIn profile? And lastly, are we making it as easy for them to go to PallaviKashyap.com or to go to the landing page we want them to go? Forget about the job aspect. Treat it as an extension of your own website that needs to convert your ideal reader.
Perfect. And what about the algorithm? The algorithm is a little different when it comes to LinkedIn, because Facebook, Instagram, they all work in a different style. And the content that you put up, we'll come back to content later in terms of the topic as content. But when you're putting up a content on LinkedIn, there's no that kind of a fight that happens on Instagram and Facebook.
Maybe it looks like that from the outside, but there is maybe a fight with neckties, and maybe it's more civilized, but there's still a fight.
Okay. That's good to know. But what about the algorithm in depth? Do you think the algorithm is better here?
So LinkedIn has, there are billions of searches who are performed on the LinkedIn platform. And we influence some of it. So one question you can ask yourself is, again, going back to the first question, who's your ideal reader? Let's have two answers. As an employee, so you're an operations specialist, and your next position may be an operation manager. So you ask yourself, what keywords would I like to be found by? So it could be operations and logistics and supply chain and procedure and system and things like that. And there's a whole way I could describe to make sure that the right keywords are present somewhere in your profile. This is number one. What about the entrepreneurs? What keywords do their clients search them by? It could be coaching terms, it could be the service they provide, it could be financial, it could be anything else. So put yourself in the shoes of your ideal reader and ask yourself, what terms will that person use? And Pallavi, you know so much about your specialty that sometimes the words they would use are less accurate. But the terms we use are not important. We need to understand the way people will search for us.
Right. Also, we spoke about content. So again, different platforms, the style of putting content is different. Like if it is a podcast, we can have a 30 minutes to an hour long episode or that kind of a content which is heavy, deep, because our listeners are also into, they understand and they also want to consume these kind of topics or this kind of long content. But when it comes to an Instagram, it's just a swipe these days, which is not even 5 seconds, 10 seconds. And there are a lot of content creators who are putting in so much of effort to make that 5-second video or content worth it. And what I've observed in these platforms versus LinkedIn is, I think LinkedIn is more of a serious kind of people, a little more refined category where they spend time reading rather than I've not explored and I've not experimented video content much on LinkedIn. But what I see is people like to read articles, and especially when they're shared from other websites like Harvard or all this Economic Times or those kind of business segments. So is it very much? What kind of content should be shared on LinkedIn? If I reframe my question.
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is that let's go back to your ideal reader and see how we can help them. What sort of content are they looking for? And can you try and educate them? And the easiest way to do it is to ask yourself, what content have I created, not for the sake of LinkedIn, but for my business? What content is available on your website? For some entrepreneurs, it could be blog posts, it could be white paper, pictures. It could be video, and video works fine on LinkedIn. But the easiest way to do it is not to create content just for LinkedIn, but repurpose the content you have already created and ask yourself, out of the content I have, like run a DPI, a digital portfolio inventory, and try to focus on a few evergreen pieces of content that are educational and not salesy. So say your client is exploring perhaps what sort of solution they need to, what sort of software tool they need. So instead of saying this is our solution and it's the best, you say here are the differences, here are the questions you should ask yourself before you pick any solution. What is your need for this? How much budget do you have? When do you have it? When would you like to have it operational? If you want X, Y, and Z, then maybe you should look that way. But if you want A, this is our solution. So you basically send people who are not relevant for you elsewhere, educate everyone, and by educating them, they can go farther with you because they understand that you've become part of the solution for them. And now, since you opened their eyes, they can say, okay, so Pallavi, now I understand that there is I moved from baby step A to baby step B. Is there more to it? And you say, yes. C and D and F, and the way to do it is to jump to my website or to book a strategy call or to download this gated content. So you provide value first, and then you can show them the next logical step to perform.
Okay, so basically the steps that as I understand, is first to get to sales, you have to first do the first 4-5 steps, which could be just educating. One of the steps that could be. I have also heard of like we have Instagram ads, like we have Facebook ads. Likewise, we have LinkedIn ads as well, also ad platform where we put in money and get leads or prospects or through which we would ideally look for, generating sales. So what is your view on that?
I don't hold LinkedIn ads in a very high regard, I'm afraid. When was the last time, if I may ask, when was the last time you clicked on an ad on LinkedIn?
No, I never do that. I've never seen also an ad.
The defense risks.
Oh.
And I'm on LinkedIn, maybe not 24/7, but a lot of time. So you're only spending time on advertising. You basically bypass the organic strength of LinkedIn. And essentially, it's an organic strength. Seeing the content you mentioned, someone sharing maybe a Harvard Business Review article, something else. This is the main gasoline that people will look for. And you don't have to focus on advertising. You need to build a content strategy and a connection strategy that works for you. And advertising does not have to be part of that solution.
Coming back to organizing your LinkedIn profile. So I had this personal question with you. I just wanted to put it across once again. So when we are organizing our profile, there are also these features where we can make a page. We can create a page. We can create an individual profile and all of that. So as an employee, what is beneficial? As an entrepreneur, what kind of outlook is beneficial?
Okay, so as an employee, it's very simple. Once you've added the employer to the experience section, try to be associated with that company. In other words, it's not enough to write the name of the company. You need to wait for LinkedIn to identify the logo and then associate yourself with the company. For example, when you were with Mahindra Holidays, then I see the logo. If I click on the logo, I go to the page itself. Now, also ask about entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs who are starting out should not worry about the page at all, because the page is not that important on LinkedIn if you only employ a few people. When you have hundreds or thousands of employees, then go back to the page. But initially, create it and forget about it for 3 months. Maybe share once every 3 quarters. It's not important. Most people will not see that content. Most people will not go there. Your individual profile is where marketing and lead generation happens.
Oh, okay, interesting. And also, Daniel, this since I have a corporate profile and I'm very passionate about healing and natural, ways to take care of our health. So, how do I separate both, or do I include them or how do I go about it, which is totally the opposite side of taking care of yourself naturally, because there's so many modalities, which is kind of the left brain and the right brain, and then that kind of a clash. So I'm very passionate about healing and all those modalities. But if I write something on that particular area, I disconnect with this side of the audience. Of course, there will be people who would connect, but then majority of the people, because I know how it is. So what kind of content, if I have to produce, or if I have to be active on LinkedIn and keep growing myself on LinkedIn, so how do I merge, or do I have to keep them separate?
Oh, that's Pallavi, by far. That's the toughest question you've asked, and gonna guess. So let me ask you a couple of questions first. Would you like to use the LinkedIn platform to gain more clients for the healing side of Pallavi, or as a corporate employee? Can you pick? Can you prioritize one of them? Is one of them?
Yeah,
Which one is?
yeah. But I am not kind of doing it right now. But that's my passion, that's my interest. But if I have to get leads, or if I have to connect to certain clients, it would be ideally for the healing side of the business.
Okay. So perhaps what I would advise you is some kind of 80 to 20%. 80 being
Mm.
the most important aspect you'd like to convey,
Mm.
and 20% will be on the second thing. So let's give two examples. One of them is that healing is more important for you.
Mm.
So your profile will have a banner highlighting the healing side, and the headline would specifically mention wellness and things like that.
Mm.
At the bottom, you would say that on my other hat is a manager as an employee for company XYZ.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to do it. If the answer is completely different, then you would say, this is my professional entity working as a manager for that company. But as an individual, I also care about healing. But try not to confuse people with two that look like 50-50, because most people cannot, they need one label next to Pallavi. You pick the one that should serve you the best. I know it's a tough, there's no easy way to do this.
I'll figure it out probably. So as I told you, I'm connected to so many of my entrepreneur friends as well. So, and they always talk about mindset, and in fact, even I have started believing that when you have a mindset, the right mindset, and you're surrounded by the right kind of people, there's growth. Otherwise, how the world works. There's so much of negativity around. So, what is? How much do you believe in having that right kind of a mindset, and how do you deal with the day-to-day daily tasks and challenges, and how mindset helps in that area?
So perhaps we could discuss the networking parts of things.
Mm.
When you send invitation requests to people, or when you connect with people, do you do it based on your individual interest, people you've worked with, or what is your connection strategy? And most entrepreneurs simply don't have one. So pick one. You could decide that you connect mostly with people you've worked with, or mostly with something else. Just try to pick one. Ask yourself, in 2 years' time, would you like to be the most connected or the best connected? If you had to pick one, which one would that be?
Okay. Also, in terms of I'm doing a comparison with Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So we have this option of going live and talking, inviting guest speakers, and all of that on Facebook and on Instagram. So I do most of my lives on Instagram. So in LinkedIn, that feature is available, but I don't have it. So is it something like a pro kind of a feature, or when do we get it?
You get it as soon as you apply for it, or if you turn on the creator mode, it's instantly available, and for most people, it's instantly available too. So I would advise you to add it. And again, if you have an Instagram Live or Facebook Live, then plug in your LinkedIn to do it at the same time. You don't have to work hard for this. If you know that in 10 days you have a major event and your main platform is Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or something else, at the same time, make sure that your LinkedIn Live is also broadcasting this. And there are platforms like Restream or other platforms that you basically pick one main window, shall we say, and everything is broadcasted to every other channel you have. Yes, I think if you're into video and if you're into live or live streaming, yes, LinkedIn should be part of what you do.
But do we have to select a time or because LinkedIn is very for professional people, and if I, like in India, if I do a live at 11 a.m. in the morning, which is it falls in the 9 to 5 slot, I should not be disturbing people to and make them watch me, right? So is there those kind of not protocols, but those kind of like, hey, you should understand it better, or this is common sense, or is there something like are there timings, or people just go live when they want to?
First of all, LinkedIn is here to serve you. So you, Pallavi, can decide what time works for you. But going back to the 11 a.m. question, if someone feels it's important to join your live event at 11 a.m., then please do it. And again, it goes back to the hat you're wearing. If your LinkedIn live event is about business solutions, then daytime in your time zone are the best prime time for that. If you offer healing LinkedIn live events, then maybe people would prefer to have it maybe in the evening, in the morning, in the weekend, something else. But if you prefer to have it in the morning, when it's important enough, people will join whenever you do it.
It's the magnetism of the personality, I guess.
And you're magnetic. So why hide it?
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah,
95, your time zone is the prime time for most people. There should be a very good reason why you won't broadcast live during that time. You could say, for example, India is one central market of mine, but I also have a US following. And the US following, I would have an event very late at night or very early in the morning India time because I want to cater to Pacific, Mountain, Central, and Eastern time. That's fine.
Yeah. Interesting points. I also wanted to. I was just reading about the reviews you've got from the book that you published recently. So, what my audience, if they want to get the book, what should they look forward to, or what is included in the book?
Book is made of 12 steps to optimize your LinkedIn profile, but I'll make it very easy for them. They don't have to buy the book because LinkedIn changes LinkedIn has changed so much, and I've included over 150 screenshots in the book. So go to my website. There are free articles there and videos that would help you optimize your profile. Again, it boils down to 3 questions: your ideal reader, the action you'd like to perform, and the gap that you can often find. Look at the banner, look at the headline. I've got a giveaway about the headline itself. It's free to download. You can start with that.
Okay, perfect. And I have this question again personally from my end. So as an employee, if I want to explore LinkedIn, since we are mostly talking about the business side and getting leads and sales, other than what more can I do on LinkedIn other than just, looking for jobs, applying for jobs, or somebody, trying to hire me? So what else can corporates do?
Excellent. So let's mention new employees. For example, if you just started, if you just joined a new company, Pallavi, often you will find that there is something you need to learn more about. Sometimes it's the company itself, the technology the company is using, the marketplace. So you will have to learn something. So use LinkedIn to learn that. In other words, instead of just going to LinkedIn when you find a job and when you look for a job, maybe 2 years' time, ask yourself, what sort of content am I interested in that will help me succeed in my current job? And you go and find that content by running a simple search on LinkedIn and perhaps joining 1 or 2 LinkedIn groups.
Okay.
And that way you maybe for 10 or 15 minutes a week, you learn, you read articles and you watch videos and you educate yourself about something that will help you succeed in your job. That makes a lot more sense, because if you ever look for a job again in 2 years' time, then you'll be more familiar with the platform. And that's one of the particularities of LinkedIn. Many people use LinkedIn when they look for clients or a job and then forget about it for 2 years and then they binge it. They're not very successful. If you could take 10 minutes a week to educate yourself, then during those 10 minutes, you will see something. For example, one person we were privileged to speak with in the past is Racing Chu. If I only visit LinkedIn in 2 years' time, then I will have no idea what Racing is up to. However, if I visit LinkedIn every week for a couple of minutes, I will see maybe a Legacy show episode, maybe something else. And that means I will strengthen my relationship with Racing. Or again, if I visit LinkedIn only once a week and I happen to visit LinkedIn on the first week of May, then I will notice that Pallavi has her birthday coming up on May 1st. And I will be able to leave the LinkedIn platform, reach out to you and wish you a happy birthday. It doesn't take a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Obviously, if I forget about LinkedIn in a year and I log in again in December, it makes no sense to wish you anything in December.
Perfect. Makes sense. Also, I'm big time into content creation, and also I keep having this lot of questions on content. So on other platforms, the likes matter, the metrics, as we say it, as we call it. So the likes matter, the reshares matter, saving that content and sharing it with other friends matter. So on LinkedIn, what are those things that matter, or how do you say that, okay, let's say not successful, but it was close to success. This article was close to success, or this article did not viral, but it was a good article. It did, catch eyeballs or something like that. How do we say it?
It's a very good question. And it goes back to the question, what would you like that article to perform? Would you like to educate your audience? Would you like them to reach out to you? Or is there anything else you're interested in? And although likes and shares are important, the metrics that you should care about are not the LinkedIn metrics, but your personal metrics. For example, business metrics, if you're an entrepreneur. Instead of saying, wow, I had 12 gazillion likes, you need to say, what? I had 3 new contracts signed because someone has seen that and reached out to me. That means you can have a quality network, and you can have only 3 likes coming from strategic people can bring you more revenues than 1,200 people who have nothing to, they liked it because they like you, but they're not your target audience. It won't help you in any way.
Oh, perfect. I think this is very beautifully answered. I think the last call to action, that what we are talking about, like, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to book a call with you? Do you want them to buy a product? Do you want to push them to your website, and the next steps happen there? Oh, very, very, very brilliantly answered. I didn't think about this at all. I used to always put my content and, just stick to the metrics that are shown, the likes, the views and all of that. And I'm one person who's always behind in that CTA. Wherever it is, even if it is Facebook or Instagram, just an honest confession, I'm having a bad throat. So the CTA is where I mostly miss out on, and LinkedIn has been a little far off for me. So I have missed CTAs here as well. Yeah, very beautifully explained. And I think as business owners, that should be the prime or the goals should be set first and then you work on your content? Very beautifully answered.
What you said,
uh,
what you said is basic business principles, and LinkedIn has
yeah.
changed that. You don't have to learn anything. LinkedIn is just the tool that needs to drive your business.
Mhm. Yeah. So, what are the other important and interesting projects you are working on that me and my audience can, like, what are we going to see in the near future if it is not confidential?
One thing I may work on is another book, not a full length book I would author, but a
Mm,
book made of several experts contributing one chapter
mm.
about podcasting. So it's still
Oh.
an idea, but I'm running this with Mike Capuzzi, who informed me about Shooks and short books. And I
Mm,
participated, I contributed one chapter to the Podmatch Mastery guest book, and
mhm.
maybe I'll do something with that in the next 6 months if I have time, and if and then you'll be the first to know about it.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, I also had this question. Like, I was going through your profile on LinkedIn, and you do have a past experience. You have worked in corporates, and then you started on your own. So our journey is similar in terms of a mix of corporate and entrepreneurship. So if I give you a choice to continue with your entrepreneurial journey, or I give you some great package and tell you to come back and join a corporate, would you choose getting back to a corporate, or would you continue your entrepreneurial journey? Though I know the answer, I want my audience to hear it.
Okay, so I will not go back to the dark side, and I'm happy with.
I knew the answer, but I still wanted my audience to hear it.
Don't get me wrong, corporate world has taught me a lot. It has made a better consultant or a business owner out of me.
Hmm.
But I think the ability to decide who to work with and which clients you prefer not to work with is a privilege that employees don't have. And I
Yeah.
can turn down, or I can fire clients I no longer want to work with. So I only work with people who are interesting and charming and fun to work with.
Hmm. In one word, freedom.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And
Priceless.
yeah, I know. I know. I have this question on legacy. Like, how do you want to be remembered for all the work that you have done? And so this question on legacy. So tell us something on that.
Small kinds of small actions of people reaching out to you and say, you know what? I attended XYZ or read that or listened to your chat with Pallavi, and now I've turned my business around, or now I've used it to improve my career. Sometimes people will tell you that 4 years after the event or 8 years after the event, and it still makes my day. So that sort of action is very touching for me.
Hmm.
If I can suggest something, go and say thank you to someone that helped you. If they
Hmm.
don't know it, then you will make their day.
Hmm. Interesting. I think I have asked you all the questions that I wanted to. But if there is something that you want to add on in this podcast, and I probably missed asking you that question, and you want to, enlighten us with that that part, that kind of information, then it's back to you.
You mentioned something earlier about the dichotomy between wellness and spirituality and healing and business.
Mm.
Um, My wish is that for people who learn more about you, they will be able to see both sides. They're not contradictory. They're not mutually exclusive.
Mm.
Unfortunately, when you introduce yourself to someone, then it makes sense to pick one hat. But as
Right.
they get to know more about you, then you can show them the other sides of Pallavi,
Yeah.
something that you will not tell everyone, and
Mm.
that is very fulfilling for both. But they just need to get into the inner circle before you show them stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I shouldn't shock people, just yeah, welcome them to the world, to my world, and then okay, here's the next book, or here's the next leaf, or this is the next chapter, or something like that. Brilliantly explained. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And before I leave you, I have this last question. Where can my audience connect, or where are you most? I know you would be on LinkedIn all the time, but if there's any other platform, where should people reach you at?
Thank you very much. The best way to do it is simply to go to danielalfon.com, DANIELALFON.com. They'll find giveaways and articles there.
Okay.
And just check out the Energized Lifestyle Podcast. You will find other guests which will help you better be a better person or be a better entrepreneur.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And yeah, thanks once again for your time. And with that, I think I will close this episode. And in future, if I have something to do with LinkedIn and I happen to come across some topic that you can, explain more, then we shall get back together and do another episode. Yeah, excited. Yeah. Till we meet again, wish you all the best in all your upcoming projects. Thank you.